What would you recommend?
I'd recommend Defiance.
Now.
Hey there, welcome. You know what? Ruben and I are so grateful that you're here. Do us a favor if you can, subscribe to our channel, ring that bell, and you know what? That would just help us out a lot. And I hope you're enjoying the channel. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Today we are discussing on the show movie night. Jacob, do you like movie night? Yes, sir. I love it. And we're doing a bit of a throwback. It's a movie that was released in 2001, and it kind of got buried amid the tumult and the cultural malaise that was we were going through at that time in 9/11. And so this movie is To End All Wars, 2001, directed by David Cunningham. Associate producer on this film is our friend Edwin Marshall. And so we've talked about a couple of his movies, produced by, directed by, and we don't hold any punches here, though, do we, Jacob? We are going to say if we like it, regardless of who worked on it. And this movie is starring Robert Carlyle, Kiefer Sutherland, and I don't know, in the 90s for me, if a movie had Robert Carlyle, I was in. I was in on the movie because he's so good. But the performances to me is what makes this stand out. So this movie is uh, based on based on a book. I believe it's titled Through the River Kwai. Uh, and it's about you know, POW camp, a Japanese POW labor camp where Allied soldiers are forced to build a railway, Burma Railway. So this is real. This is uh, this is based on a true story. And as you start to watch it, you get a sense of this. You feel like you've seen um, things with similar material, right? Harsh conditions, brutal attacks by these Japanese military guys, forcing these Allied soldiers, British, I'm assuming, it sounded like Scottish, and American soldiers. And so, but there is this kind of this storyline kind of centers. You think it's going to be about Kiefer Sutherland's character or Carlisle, and it partly is, but your eyes kind of focus on this Dusty Miller, played by Mark Strong. And I want to say that when you have really good actors, it is so critical to push your story along because while Robert Carlyle is good and Kiefer Sutherland, they're both very good in this. I have to say, this actor that plays Dusty Miller, this Christian soldier who encourages the other, prisoners of war at this labor, you know, I guess labor camp, uh,
Yeah.
to read and to study and to pay attention to their spiritual needs. Mark Strong plays this very well. Great performance by him. And if I could get his name right, Ciaran McMenamin as Ernie,
It's close.
another great performance. And I will there's something else I would like to say about it, but uh, to me, the movie works best when it played these close-ups of these performances. It was the strongest because the acting is so strong and it's well directed. The weathered and tan faces, the pain in the actors in the soldiers' live, the pain expressed in their faces, uh, the brutality, the humdrum existence. I think it was captured very well. Uh, I like this film, and I'm surprised that more people don't talk about this person, this Dusty Miller, who was captured here and gives his life. And if I was thinking about this guy, and I'm thinking if he were a Catholic or a Orthodox, he'd be sainted. The way he gives up his life and the manner in which he does, it's pretty powerful. Um, those are my thoughts on To End All Wars.
I just kind of want to go off on that last piece that you shared, then I'll share a couple more things on the Dusty Miller character. I looked him up. I'm not sure if you had a chance to do that, and that's a real character. I mean, this is based on a true story. I think you mentioned that, and so this person and the way he died, and we're not gonna share that, but it's worth watching. But it's powerful, like you shared. The Ernie character, I do want to mention him because, and you shared, I'm gonna try to say his name like you did, but. This character, though, is another piece, a big piece of the film because he is an educator. He wants to be a teacher. And I think that's, as you and I are educators, I was thinking, okay, this is kind of something that we could connect to. And the way education is kind of thought of in the film, it's wonderful. It's like it's hope. It's like just to get more. They found like 3 or 4 instructors in the camp, and these gentlemen, it helped them survive the camp by being able to teach because it's such a mental thing. I've never been captured. I mean, I can imagine being captured like that for 3, 4. I think they were in the camp for like 3, 4 years. I think it started in 42 and they were released in late 45, August of 45. And so just to have that hope of learning something Shakespeare is being taught, not only Shakespeare, but like uh, Socrates and Plato and all that. And so these are new concepts for a lot of these soldiers. And first they have a few students, and they get a lot more. And then the whole thing with Dusty bringing in the Christian, I mean, the spiritual element regarding the Bible and teaching that. And so now they're getting all this information, these soldiers, and it's just getting them hope because as they're working to build this railroad, this is a thing that they have to construct during this 2 or 3 years. They're not eating right. They're not feeding them correctly. And so how do you survive that? But a lot of it has to do with the hope and the knowledge that they're receiving. So I just really like that part of the film too, Ruben. I too, I had never seen it before. I can't believe I hadn't seen it, and I was hoping to like it. I was like, oh, I hope I like this film. And then I'm like, oh, I loved it. I loved a lot of elements, and I like the film. I really would want to recommend it for people who haven't seen it, just because there's such great. I'd love to talk to Edwin about this, just because I thought, man, did they really film? Where'd they film? Because I know it takes place in Thailand, but it looks so, the vegetation, all that seemed like it was in the forest, not in the forest, but like in the jungle somewhere. And so I just felt like it was done so well, and it takes you through that whole experience, and you see how different people like Carlyle and Sutherland deal with being captured, and they all kind of deal with it a little differently and try to figure it out. But I think the character of Ernie, he figured out regarding education, and Dusty regarding the spiritual piece. I think those guys figured it out before the Carlyle and Sutherland character did. But yeah, Ruben, I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
And there is a couple of more thoughts I want to share is there is this concept that was attempted to be taught and to be lived through, and that's the idea of suffering before glory, cross before the crown. And at one point, there was unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, it can't bear, more seeds. But this idea of suffering before glory, um, as I was watching it, I was thinking it's so hard to understand this concept if you don't live it. If you're living in, like we do, comfort and all the amenities, this idea is just kind of theoretical, and you really sense it as you watch this film. But I like that scripture that they brought out because you don't really hear it very much.
Yeah.
You kind of hear the same 2 or 3 scriptures, certainly at a funeral, um, that are repeated, and it's fine. But it was really refreshing to get that sense of it. And again, I can't stress uh, enough the importance of strong actors pushing forward this idea, and you're
Yeah.
just kind of lost in it. It's really great performances, and again, kudos to Kiefer Sutherland because it's funny because when that movie was released, he had experienced a lull. You didn't see
Right.
that much of him, and then after that, you saw him in a lot of things. You saw him in 24,
Right.
and he re-experienced it. But as I'm watching it, I was thinking, yeah, I never feel like I'm out of this of a movie when he's on. And again, and the actors, the other actors as well.
Yeah.
But I want to say too that the ending of the film, if you haven't, because you asked if I looked into this person, and I did a little research as well. But if you watch it, at first you might think, "Oh, really? Look at how he dies." Maybe the director, maybe that's a bit much. No, the director's not accentuating anything. That's how it happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal to say. Well, I'll just say that it's a very dramatic death.
Yeah.
And there's a connection to the New Testament as you watch it, but it's real.
It is.
And again, I want to say that I'm surprised more people haven't talked about this movie and about this man's life because it's worth discussing and thinking over. And we're shooting this in the week of Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
it's another thing to be thankful for this week is that comfort that we experience, that joy, um, that just the benefits that we have as Americans, and very grateful to God this week. But anyway, thank you for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.
Um, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.